Microsoft released Fabric apps, full applications that can connect to the data that you have inside of Fabric, while it handles authentication, hosting, all of that. So you can build a data-driven app that looks amazing like this within 1 hour. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to set this up. Everybody is super excited about Fabric apps because there's no boundary anymore to what you can build, and it can use the data that you have inside of Fabric, just like Power BI reports. But with Power BI reports, you're limited to the options that are available in Power BI. Now, there are pros and cons to it. Pro is that you can build basically anything. The con is, what if it doesn't work? Who's going to fix it and who's going to take care of it long term? But the main message is it is super exciting and something that you really want to check out. So let's build this example together. Now, first we need to take care of a few things. Let's go to the admin settings inside of Power BI and then open up the admin portal. And over here, look for Fabric apps. Now, this is a preview feature that just got launched. Make sure that's enabled. The second thing is, if you want to connect to the data that you have inside of Fabric, you need to use an API, the REST API, for semantic model queries execution. Make sure that this one is also enabled. Now, with these two settings enabled, you also need to set up a Fabric workspace. So if I go here to workspace settings and then workspace type, you see I have over here a Fabric workspace. Now you can also use the trial, that's totally fine. And now we simply click on new item and then look for app. And then you will see here we have the app preview. Okay, now let's give it a name. I'm going to call this one my app, then choose the location, which is my Fabric app workspace, and click on create. And then we have two options. Either we're just going to copy a prompt to Claude Code, Visual Studio Code, whatever AI chat tool that you're using, or we do it step by step. Now let's do the second option so that you can see all of the different steps instead of relying AI on setting everything up. I'm going to copy over here this line, and then we go to Visual Studio Code where we connect to a new folder. So I'm going to open a new folder that I called my app. All right, let's open it up. Then we go and open up the terminal, and here we can just paste that line that we just copied. Press enter, then it will ask you, do you want to use a template, use an external Git template, or start from scratch? Now in the documentation, it also says that it's probably a good idea to use a template because without these built-in capabilities, an AI agent would need to solve authentication, text generation, all of that stuff, meaning more errors. All right, so let's go back to Visual Studio Code, select the template option, and then we have another question. Do you want to create a blank app, a data app, a to-do app, or a basic to-do app? All right, now here we're going to go for a data app, which is probably the most common application that you're going to build. So now it's building the entire structure for your application using a template that has the key components. Now, if you want to dive a little bit deeper on what these components exactly are, go to the documentation. Here you have a full overview of what is what. All right, so let's now go back to Visual Studio Code and see if it's ready. Now here on the left hand side in the Explorer window, you see we have the whole structure. Perfect. Now we have to take the next step, and that is we have to navigate to that subfolder by using cd space and then writing the name of our app, my app. And then one more instruction, which is npm run dev, which spins up the development environment. All right, so npm run dev. It gave us a link that we can go to see the app that we're going to build. So if we copy this and then open it up in our browser, then later on you will see the app here. All right, now how can we build the app? Well, for that we're going to use Copilot, Codex, or Claude, whatever you prefer. I'm going to use Claude. You see I have already here the extension for Claude Code. I'm going to start a new session, and now we are ready to build. Let's create something that we cannot create in Power BI because you can use any code library, and that is the amazing part of it. Now this code library over here is called React 3 Fiber, which lets you build amazing looking applications. Now here you have a whole showcase page with all different kinds of animations that can be built, and I was inspired by this carousel over here because looking at it, I thought, it's perfect to display different products if you don't have that many products that you're selling as a company, and see how cool it reacts to my cursor. And when I use my scroll wheel, it turns the carousel. Now, let's try to rebuild this with hypothetical products that we are selling. Now, probably in real life, you already have these images. I just generated them using also AI in a couple of few minutes using Gemini. Now, those images are just stored in the application folder. So if you go here to my app, you see I've created now a new folder called products. And inside of that folder, you find images for the different products that we are selling. Now, in our case, that's going to be different watches like this. You see clean pictures of the products and also descriptive information about the watches, the products that we are selling. All right, now I have those as separate files. Later on, of course, we can store all of that information also in tables in a database inside of Fabric. Now, we take the next step. We have to prompt AI to start building our application, the front end of the application using this demo example. So I'm going to copy over that URL. I'm going to go back to Visual Studio Code. And here we can prompt it to create an app like here using the product images and details from the products folder. I don't want that rotating band around it. Just the carousel. Let's see what it does. The moment of truth, let's see how good it is, what it built. Okay, now you see here we have the localhost that we can open up. So copy it, I'm gonna go to my browser and it actually looks already pretty decent. You see when I hover over one of the product tiles, it gives me the information of that watch. I cannot use my scroll wheel to turn it around, unfortunately. However, when I put my cursor away, then it keeps on turning around. Okay, so all of that extra information about the products I would like to see here on the left-hand side. So I'm going to prompt it the following. I want the design to be more luxurious, make it look like Rolex, zoom out the carousel a bit more and make it react to my scrolling wheel or arrow keys. I want key financial information and other KPIs in a separate box on the left, and the product name and short description can go to the top. Now, let's see how good of a job it does with this prompt. As you can see, it's still working on updating the design. Let's have a quick preview to see what is already there. So if I go to the browser, you see, it is actually going in the right direction. It already looks much better. We have on the left-hand side a new box with all key information about the products. Here at the top, we see it's showing the product name with now also the details. You saw it live changing. And now if I scroll, yep, it reacts to my mouse. So it's going in the right direction. Let's wait a little bit longer until it's fully done. And it seems to be done. The boutique redesign is live at localhost 5199. And you see all of the changes that it applied. I'm just going to go back to my browser. There is our localhost. Let's refresh and boom. That looks good. It reacts to my scrolling wheel. It reacts to my keyboard arrows. When I hover over it, it shows me all of the details for the watch that I'm on. Super. All right. Now, of course, we can keep on prompting and refining the design, but the main effect that I was going for is there. This is exactly how I built this app over here as well. You see the carousel has a little bit of a different look and feel. Here, for different types of products, same idea, just different design. And you just go back and forth a few times until you have it exactly like the way that you imagine. Okay, but now our app is using, well, not the data that's inside of Fabric. It doesn't exist yet. So we could actually hook it up to real data, to existing tables, or we just have AI take care of it. Because, well, now we have scales for Fabric. It should be able to set up everything that we need so that it takes the data from a database inside of Fabric. And that's going to be our next prompt. Let's go back to Visual Studio Code. So here I keep my prompt super concise to see if it's able to figure out what to do. And I just say, set up the backend with a database in Fabric that feeds the product data into the app. That's it. All right, it's still working on it. It made itself a whole list of to-dos from, first of all, defining the product entity plus schema, and then enabling the data service to setting everything up in Fabric, deploying the backend, seeing the product data into the Fabric database, to then wiring the app to be able to read the product information from the backend. All right, so once that is done, it will log in the permissions to read only, plus validate app reads from the database. Let's see how it does. All right, it says that it's done. It took care of the whole backend for our application. Now let's check if it actually works. Let's go now, not to our localhost, but to Fabric. And ta-da, that looks very promising. There is our app we can interact with, perfectly. It gets the data fed in from hopefully a database that now lives in Fabric. Now, of course, we could extend this further and refine it and add financial information, whatever we are looking for. But let's see what it actually did in our Fabric workspace. Here in the workspace, you see we have our app with an SQL database. Now, let's open it up. And if we then go to My App, Database, Tables, then you see over here a products table. Now, in the products table, I was actually expecting the rows for all of the different products that we have, but something seems off. It is not feeding in the data from this table. So let's go back to Visual Studio Code. Over here, let's ask what's up. The products table and users table are empty and don't seem to be feeding the app. Can you fix it? All right, it's done figuring out what the problem was. It just seems to be an authentication issue. I just have to go to the Fabric portal using the link, so meaning opening the app. All right, reload. Perfect, here we have our app. And now if we go to our workspace, and then over here we have the SQL database, then go here to the database tables, products, and ta-da, here we have all of the data for the products. All right, now that was an easy fix. Now in our example, we had nothing. We had no front end, no back end, but just with a little bit of prompting, we created the app that we had in mind that we wanted to build, and then set up everything in the back end, or well, Copilot or Claude did it for us. And in that way, we built a whole data-driven application. Now, of course, you can also first build a semantic model and then the app that you want to create on top of that would also work. But it is just really impressive to see what is possible with AI and how quickly you can get there. Now, for me, this probably took 1.5 to 2 hours to get everything up and running. Of course, you probably also still want to refine it a little bit more. However, it's super, super impressive and really nice to play with. Just imagine all of these possibilities of what we now can build using Fabric apps. Now, did you already give it a try? Let me know in the comment section below. If you want to know how I am integrating AI throughout my whole Power BI report development process, then definitely check out my next upcoming Power BI design transformation program, where you learn how I built my Power BI reports from nothing to a full production ready report. Now, hope to see you there. See you in the next video.